Welcome to SML Total Access, the official podcast of the Sim Madden League. Now, here are your hosts, ZZtheGreat and Primetime 000.
Hello and welcome to the SML podcast. This is SML Total Access. I'm Primetime 000, and filling in is our brand new interim host, Tiny Titan. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man?
Hey, glad to have you on the show. Big deal. You are replacing ZZtheGreat for now. We'll see. How does it feel?
Well, I can't replace ZZ. ZZ's the man. He's been around for a long time, and he's a big part of the league. Hopefully, whatever's going on, man, he can get worked out. I assume it's just, his work is busy. Maybe we can make this a threesome. Wink, wink.
Yeah, that'd be tons of fun. Loads of fun, it sounds like, anyway. But the reason we have you here is to get down to business and to hear your football and SML mind. So let's go ahead. Let's get right into this thing on first down, which is what's wrong with Dallas? What's wrong with Grams? He is 16-23 over his last 39 games. Can you give me your thoughts on Grams?
Well, actually, it's funny. We just played a few weeks ago, and I actually won. But what I found crazy about the game is he was marching up and down the field, which my defense isn't nothing to brag about. But I played decent defense, I feel like. But he would get down the field and then throw some stupid interception, kind of like what I do. So I don't feel like it's necessarily him slacking off. It's more just maybe making bad decisions. Maybe he's not playing as much and knowing what's coming. But what I did notice was his defense was like, if I remember right, it was like 26 in the league in points allowed or something like that. The biggest thing was Zeke is attempting 14 rushing attempts per game. That is way too little. Everybody gets on Coop about not giving Derrick Henry the ball. Zeke needs the ball. To put in comparison, Chris Carson has 2 less rushing attempts than Zeke, and Chris Carson is not Zeke, and he's also been hurt for in total a game and a half this season. So, hey, Grams, run the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I've noticed in a few games I've watched where he's throwing untimely interceptions at points in game. I think that Graham's kind of prided himself in situational football, and that's what made him win games. And now in the last 2 minutes of games or halves, he's throwing picks. He's not extending these drives. He's putting the pressure on his defense, and his defense is collapsing. He claims he's tried building a man defense, and he says that's not working too well for him. There's quite a bit wrong, and this kind of leads me. We're still on first down here, but the OGs, is this just kind of a fall of that generation of SML players? Your Grams, your Lawyer Killers, your Raider Woods guys. Is this kind of a fall of these guys?
Wait, sorry, I got interrupted. Did you put Raider in that group?
The Raiders, Woods.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Raider. Okay, sorry. Anyway.
Yes.
No, I don't think so necessarily. I think what I've noticed is these new guys come in from Primer, and it takes a season or two before everybody kind of can figure out, like, this. The SML is so good where, like, it takes a game or two of film, or if they play you and they see you playing somebody else, they kind of understand what you're doing, and they will play to your, against your strengths. Except for other leagues, you'll play somebody and they're just playing how they want to play every game. So I think just give it some time. These Primer guys will kind of get their way in, and the older guys will catch back on, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I've got a fear that the OGs are just, they're done. They're cooked. Stick a fork in them, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Moving on now. Second down. Speaking of an OG, the Browns, led by old man Woods, Stezo is what they call him, I think. He's undefeated, and he's beaten Dump. He's beaten some good guys. What is your thoughts on the resurgent Cleveland Browns and Woods?
So when I made my notes, what I put underneath Woods, because the first thing I done was, like, I'm going to go to his schedule and I'm going to look, and it's going to be KJ and Two-Step and 2 other guys that you would expect him to beat, but it wasn't. So I put a big WTF on my paper where I made notes.
Yes.
He just beat the crap out of Dump. So I was like, whoa. But other than Dump, the combined record of his opponents are 3-10-1. Also, how did I miss that tie? I had no idea that KJ and Coop tied. But anyways, anyways, his defense is first in points against. I'm pretty sure. No, I'm sorry, pass defense. So that makes that's a big deal if you can stop the pass. So Woods also he in another league we played last season. That's the last time I played him, I believe, and he beat the absolute brakes off me. And I've had good luck against him before. So I feel like Woods is getting better in his old age. Maybe we'll see. He'll be 65 years old and win the SML championship.
Yeah, he's getting old, and that's kind of interesting. And he has beat the Patriots, who is another team. I'm not sure if they're overrated. They beat me in the playoffs, but other than that, he really hasn't done too much. I think this is his third or fourth SML season now. Um, with Woods, what do you think about that? That's often debated. Is age a factor in playing Madden? With Woods, it doesn't seem like it's been a factor, but what do you think about that?
I don't think necessarily age matters. I went through a phase where there was like probably 4 or 5 years where I didn't play Madden at all, and I got back in and thought I could just hop in and play like I used to, and you can't do that. Like it used to be, if you put that tight end on the right side on a streak, he's going to be open as soon as he passes the linebackers every time. That doesn't work anymore. There's several things like that. So you got. I think if you're, I don't care if you're 65 years old, 70 years old. If you're playing Madden every year, you kind of know how the game changes and you can adjust to it. And Woods is a prime example of that. I'm feeling really bad about calling him this old all the time. I know he's not really that old.
He's not that old. You're right. I think it's a season of life thing as well. If you're not, like you said, you have to be invested in this game. And there's some guys like Dan who is very invested and he knows all about it, all the animations, all the good and bad aspects of it, and it shows in his win and loss record. Whereas somebody like I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, somebody who wins, but they could be a little bit better maybe if they I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know who that guy.
I would say Dump, probably Dump.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Because Dump is somebody who plays his games, probably doesn't study that much, and if he studied as much as Dan did, watched film, get on MaddenSchool.com, does all this stuff, Dump would probably be honestly probably the best player in the league. Honestly.
I could agree with that.
He's that
Dump
good.
just got those natural skills. It seems like in Madden, like he just, all right, man. I went and banged my girl tonight. I'm gonna go eat lunch and go home and play Madden. And you're tiny. So
you're absolutely right. He just and he's moving. And keep in mind, this dude's been in like 3 hurricanes. He's moved. He's all this stuff, and he's still here and he's still competing. And that's a very good point. That the Dump would be very good if he got dialed in like that. So season of life, interest in the game more so than age. Third down, Dookie. Everybody hates Dookie. He's been more quiet, more modest this year. Paulie mentioned it on The Truth. Shout out to Paulie. Is Dookie actually underrated?
So I feel like this is kind of a two-headed answer. Although, yeah. So first off, I want to give a shout out to Paulie. That was a great podcast the other day, having Dookie on there. Dookie done a good job as well. I think part of the thing with Dookie is that a lot of people, maybe including myself, thinks that a lot of his scoring is gimmicky. Mm-hmm. Like some of those plays that you have to know what's coming to stop it. But you can't deny he's 23-1 over the last 2 seasons now. So I mean, how do you argue that? The only thing I can say is his defense can be beat. So like if somebody's going to beat him, I'm going to assume it's, well, I don't know. Didn't Paulie beat him in a defensive game last year?
Yeah, Paulie put up 50 on him.
Yeah. So I feel like you got to score against him to win, and his defense can't allow that. He has one of those bend but don't break defenses. He's only allowing 12 points a game, but he's like 16th in yards allowed passing. So if you're allowing that much, the good players are going to score, So I feel like that part of that has got to be maybe the people he's played so far already.
So I think that Dookie did a bad job of marketing himself early on, and these primer guys, these primer guys have got to understand when they join, they've got the eyes on them no matter what. Like Paulie's eye is on them, and if you're good, look at Faz. I mean, Faz was the next big thing. Paulie had coined it after Faz won like 2 games before the cycle even started, and Faz really dropped the ball there because in the Super Bowl he had a choke job and Paulie dropped him like a sack of potatoes. If Dookie just remained quiet, and humble, could you imagine the hype that he would have right now? I mean, he would easily be, he would be as big as Sunday would be because Sunday had a lot of hype. So yeah, man, I think Duke.
Sunday was super quiet. I think that was
Mm-hmm.
part of it. But Paulie would be hanging off Dookie like you wouldn't believe right now if Dookie wasn't the way he is in chat.
Just absolute terrible way of marketing himself, and I think that makes him underrated because people are looking for things to pick at and hate on
They
him.
want him to fail.
Yeah, so therefore he is underrated because they're like, oh, he's not that good. He's got Mike Evans and he's got
Yep.
blah 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 blah. So underrated, but self-inflicted underrated is the way I view it.
Completely agree with that, 100%. But like I said, also you can't argue with what he's done. Like I respect Dookie. He's an awesome Madden player, obviously. But also just bringing it up from when you said Faz, it kind of made me think about it when you was talking about him. Faz kind of is a perfect example of how the primer guys come in, dominate for a little bit, and then Faz. I mean, I know Faz is still good. He's probably going to finish 12-4, 11-5, 13-3 every season. But people catch on, kind of see what you're doing, and you're not as dominant as you used to be. Now, Dookie, they haven't caught on Dookie yet, I don't think. I mean, but maybe it's coming. We'll see.
That's the thing about Faz is I can see that point of view because he came in and he was very electric, and he had everybody's attention. And I believe he made season 1 Super Bowl. Oh no, season 2 Super Bowl. Yeah, season 2 Super Bowl. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Another good guy played as the Carolina new guy, Dumays or whatever his name is. Panthers. He's pretty tough. We'll see. I'll be curious to see how it plays out when guys kind of, like you said, get dialed in on him. I noticed he likes a lot of flat routes, stuff like that. I'm sure that'll be tracked down by guys like Dookie. Yep. Moving on now. 4th down. We're on 4th down, boys. You're a team builder. You actually get criticized a lot for your team building, and I actually seem to get quite a bit of hype from mine. So 2 different perspectives possibly here. What is the most difficult part of team building in franchise mode in your opinion?
Well, do you want to call Mike? We can bring Mike.
Yeah. Mike knows it all. Mike could tell you exactly what you do to team build.
I think the hardest part, which I actually talked to NYT about this. I think it was this morning, maybe. I find it crazy that Madden can't find a way to let you change the yearly salaries instead of let's just say I signed Russell Wilson. I know it's not going to happen, but like before, say I signed Russell Wilson to a 5-year deal for $100 million. Mm-hmm. I can't do $25 million the first year and then less. Or now it kind of gives you a random ass scenario. You don't really know how it's going to be every year. I feel like that kind of hurts you. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the hardest part is deciding on, let's say, like for Chris Carson is a good example of mine. I signed him for a long-term deal when he was 25 years old. Well, now he's 28, 29. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, kind of wish I wouldn't have done that. Right. Even though he's good, but he's not great. And I've seen what NYT has done with this guy. He just let Dobbins go. And he's got I don't even know his damn name, but he's a damn good running back, obviously. And then Dump's got, what's his name, Edens? Or something like that.
Edens.
Dump's dominating the league with him right now. Like, there's certain players on Madden you don't really need to pay, and that's been something I've had to learn. I'm not great at that yet, and I feel like you got to stay around long enough to understand how that works. So the hardest part, in my opinion, is determining what positions are worth paying for, and what positions are worth, hey, you've been here 4 years, see you later. I'm not paying you, $20 million a year.
Yeah, I think that one thing I do is if it's a guy like Chris Carson, who I got his Daddy Leagues page pulled up, 88 overall running back, 89 speed. No, he's not a game changer by any means. You could probably draft a replacement and probably have him devved up to that point. So the way I look at it is if they're not if they don't have crazy attributes or a crazy ability, then I'm just going to replace them. No, even if they're 86 overall, even if they're 88 overall, if they want 6 to 12 million a year, and that's not that much, I'm not going to pay it. Like I'm just let him walk. I'll trade him like Bobby Okereke. He was good for me. I traded him off to you because I'm like, yeah, he's good. He's a good user, but hopefully I can find a replacement. And then I got DK. And that's the way I look at it is if a guy, even ZZ signed a left tackle for like 8 to 12 million a year. Not that much money. I mean, quite a bit actually, but you could have just drafted a replacement and the difference in that would not be that much as long as the guy doesn't have abilities. So
what I've noticed in this Madden as well is like 75 to 85 is not a big difference, honestly, at all.
Not at all. Not at all. It's really, Yeah, not at all. So, and I've noticed another thing: people aren't paying quarterbacks that much, or people are winning without big time quarterbacks, and they're shying
Well,
away from.
Dan's a perfect example of that.
Mhm.
Dan goes through quarterbacks like nobody else, and here he is in Super Bowls every year.
So, what's your thoughts on the method of not paying quarterbacks and kind of building the team around it?
Honestly, I don't know yet. I'm coming up on that. As everybody knows, I've talked about Russ. He's Russ is nice to have because he makes crazy plays every now and then. But then for example, I have Ryan Tannehill in their league, and he's 75 overall, and he makes the same throws that Russell Wilson does, and it really frustrates the crap out of me when I got Russ and he throws a random slant 5 yards in front of Dorsett. It makes me super mad. So I don't know necessarily that it's worth maybe Mahomes or something like that, is
Yeah.
worth giving another extension to, which, of course, it's easy not to worry about that because they done it before the game started. But I don't think it's really worth it, honestly, unless you got a guy, maybe like Frank George, a guy you drafted, built up a little bit. Is he X Factor now or no?
He's superstar. He should be X Factor at the end of this year.
Okay, so maybe when's his contract up? 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah, so he may be one you might want to do, but again, our cycle's over 2 years after that, so it would be worth doing it, I'm sure.
So
instead of trying to build another guy.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah, it's just really where are you at with your team building? Where's this guy at? Is he worth it? And Paulie, perfect example. Tua he was a good quarterback. I mean, he was pretty solid, and Meats ripped him apart for trading Tua. Just ripped him apart. He had his quarterback accurate. And Paulie said, "Look, I'm not paying this guy $30 million a year because he is not that big of a difference maker." He turns around and he gets an X Factor quarterback, and now he's got him for another 3 years cheap. I mean, just genius play there by Paulie. But
right, yep.
My most difficult team building thing is drafting, and this year it's drafting and hopefully getting a guy with abilities. We've seen. I know we talked about Graham's earlier on, but he's kind of going off his draft board of best player available opposed to by need. And I know he complains about his defense a lot. He's taking some receivers, guys like that. What do you think about that method of how do you weigh best player available versus a position of need?
Well, I got to a point this past, I think it was maybe the last 2 seasons, but I know this last draft, I got to a point where like everybody was good but not great on my defense, and I'm sitting there looking around like I don't really know who I want. So that's why I got Halliburton, the outside linebacker, because I needed a pass rush, and he's been good for me so far doing that. I kind of think that's the way you need to go, is just the best player available, because nobody's really all that great, honestly, as soon as you draft them, unless you absolutely need a quarterback or you absolutely need a running back, or if your receiver course sucks and there's just a guy that's got like 4.3 speed or something like that and you need to get. Other than that, I think you just get the best guy available for the most part.
No, I agree. Yeah, I'm a best player available guy usually, but I was going quarterback in season 1. That I guess technically season 2 that was my goal, but like you said, unless if you have a major need, then BPA is the way to go. So we've gone through the first 4 downs, and now it's time for the extra point. And the Seahawks are kind of going all in this year. We've seen them trade for DeMarcus Lawrence. We've seen them beat the Meats. We've seen them beat the Grahams. Are the Seattle Seahawks making the playoffs? What's your thoughts?
I don't know, man. It's hard to say. My goal this year is my actual goal, what I told myself, win 2 games in my division, and then win as many as I can, of course, out of division. Because everybody knows this division is hard as crap. Everybody in this division is good, besides me. But so I've won 1. If I can win 2 more, which I felt good against RD the other day, and then I let it go there in the fourth quarter. But if I can split, is my goal, 3-3. I got winnable games left. Maybe this is quote unquote winnable. I haven't played football team yet, but he's one I put on my list because I haven't played him yet, so it'd be a new kind of thing. But I got him, Eagles, Lions, Steelers, Saints, and Giants. That's 6 games plus the 3 I've won. That gives me 9 wins if I can win those games, and then let's just hope I can maybe win one there in between somewhere. And like I said, if I split the division, that would put me at 11 wins. So that's a best case scenario in my opinion. Like, I'm never going to just give up.
Yeah.
I'm going to always try to win them. Even if I'm, as you've seen, I've been 0-13 and won a game at the end of the season because I'm not just going to give in like that. So I feel like if I can pull out some of those and win a couple of these division games, I have a chance. This conference is tough, man. You got to be, I think, I don't know if 10-6 will get in the wild card, honestly. So we'll see.
It'll be interesting to see. I think 10-6 just got in last year in the NFC, or
Yeah,
maybe
it did.
it was close. So I think if
I
you
think
can,
I think it was 10-6 was the last one.
I think you can get in if you get 10-6, and you've had a decent start. You've beat some solid guys. It's just consistently winning is what some guys struggle with, and if you can get it together, we've seen it happen before. We've seen it happen with Knoll last cycle. We've seen it happen with NYT last cycle. And maybe it can be Tiny Titan this cycle, changing things around, changing the story in Seattle. Yeah, I think you got a shot at it. But that's really all I've got, Tiny. Do you have anything you want to add on here to this podcast as we round just over 20 minutes?
I don't think so, man. I'm glad you had me on. I appreciate it. Maybe we can get some guests in if I do it again with you next time. Maybe ZZ will be back, and like I said, maybe we can have all three of us in here and get perspectives from everybody in here.
Yeah, maybe a new era of SML Total Access is unfolding before our eyes. Guys, that was Tiny Titan. I am the GOAT, Primetime 000. Thanks for listening. If you haven't been in the SML, today is the day to be in the SML. Apply today, simmaddenleague.com. Guys, thanks for listening, and take it easy.